Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Wedgemount's channel. We're sitting here once again with Mark. And Mark, it's been almost an entire year since I've got to talk to you. It was 2021. Now we're in the brand new year of 2022 and almost all the way through January. Where has the time gone?
I know it's unbelievable. I think it's October the last time you and I chatted, and we thought it was about time we give investors and potential investors an update on some of the things we've been up to and what they can look forward to for 2022. So I hope everything's going well for you so far in 2022.
Perfect. Yeah, things are going well. And before we dive into 2022, just kind of looking back at 2021 in the rear view mirror, what would you say the biggest highlights are for your projects?
Well, I think the key thing for us in our first year as a public company, we were able to be active on all three of our projects in the province of British Columbia. We were able to get into our Eagle project early on in June, and then we followed up by Cookie in July, and then Friendly in September. So extremely active on all the projects. And most importantly for shareholders is that we were able to take the historic information, do a ton of work in-house on it. Once we got in the field, we were able to use that historic information combined with our field activities to define much larger, probably higher grade and broader targets than were historically known on any of the three projects. So just to give a bit more detail on that, Eagle, where we started in June, we had boots on the ground mapping, sampling, trying to define some of the historic areas that were worked on. We ended up finding some new zones of interest. And I think the key thing for Eagle is that late in the season, we finished about mid to late October, we did an IP survey there, and it confirmed kind of what we were seeing on surface and what was known from some historic drill holes, that there's a big chargeability, resistivity anomaly there that looks quite similar to Northwest Copper's Quinnica deposit, which is just to the north of us, and also Mount Milligan, Centerra Gold's large copper gold porphyry project, just to the south of us. So what we're seeing there looks very similar on a geophysical survey to what they have there, and it puts us in a good position for 2022. So I'm really excited about what we saw in those surveys and the work that we did. So that's Eagle. Cookie, where we started with the project early in 2021, where we had only 1,500 hectares. We increased the size of that almost to 30,000 hectares, had boots on the ground for the first time ever on that project. And for the first time ever for us, and really the first significant exploration since the 1990s, to find a much larger and broader area of mineralization and alteration. So we now have some targets that we can focus in a more in-depth way on in 2022. But some really nice areas, and it's not just the historic sort of 1,500 hectares. We've got multiple targets across there which return very high grade copper and gold, which we'll be following up with in 2022. Lastly, on the Friendly project, where we finish up the season, as we've told investors previously, one of the reasons we like Friendly is in southern BC, which gives us a much longer exploration season. We were in there in September and October. Looked at a bunch of the historic work that had been done, some historic areas, and the really exciting thing for us is that each of the core historic areas, we're now seeing a wider range of mineralization and alteration over much larger areas, and a lot of that has to do with recent logging in the area where they've exposed areas that had very dense forests previously and that had never been explored. We found copper and gold mineralization and broad alterations. So that was really exciting. So we've got a much larger footprint in which to work. So added value to each of the projects, which prepared us for a more detailed amount of work in 2022.
Yeah, Mark, it sounds like 2021 was an exciting year. Obviously, on personal levels, it was hard. We're still all in this COVID story together, guys. We're making it through. But it sounds like Wedgemount made it through the year, got a lot done, and we're well poised for 2022. So now that we're here, new year, new me, you know how it goes. How's it looking so far? And what's next?
Yeah, for 2022, we're just rolling out our exploration plans. We've been meeting with the technical team this week and last week, but if I can go on a project by project basis, so I can tell investors what to expect in the coming year. First and foremost on Eagle, because of what I just stated about the work we did last year and vectoring it on targets with IP and exploration and mapping and sampling, We are ready to undertake a drill program, Wedgemount's first ever. That'll be in 2022. I don't have the exact dates yet, but it's likely to be late spring. We'll be on the ground in there with the drill program. So we're currently just hiring a drill contractor and getting all the logistics ready so that when we're ready to press play on that program, we'll be ready to go. The initial program will be about 2,000 to 2,500 meters. And again, we're just going to be targeting the core areas which we think we're getting a pretty good understanding of. And again, all the areas we're targeting at Eagle had historic copper and gold intercepts, but we think we have a better indication of how to chase wider intercepts of copper and gold in some of the higher grade areas. So that'll be the first big piece of exploration news coming in 2022.
Perfect. So, Mark, I have another more general question for you, if you don't mind. So how do you feel like the basin and like the precious metals are going to perform this year? I mean, obviously on the copper side of things, there's increased demand. Gold side, there's the inflation question, which seems to be there. How do you think things are going to go?
Yeah, on the precious metal side, I mean, well, we actually just had a Fed meeting today, and we know we're going to get rates moving up in the US, likely in Canada as well. I would say likely the Western world based on what's going on in inflation. So for precious metals, which have held up exceedingly well lately, I think gold's about 1820, 1830, maybe closer to 1800 after a sell-off today, but they've held in there pretty well, but there could be a bit of a headwind for those. But it's hard to say how much is already priced in the market. But what I'm really excited about is copper. The same things we talked about last year with the lack of new capital for mine development, exploration development over really the last 10 years is really starting to take effect here, where we're seeing very low copper inventories. Again, there's no new large copper projects coming on globally after probably 2023. There's nothing large on the books there. And we're seeing with infrastructure building, energy transition, you name it, huge demand for copper. So I continue to be bullish on copper over the short, medium, and long term, really to do with the supply demand characteristics of what's going on there right now.
Perfect. Yeah, it does seem like we're pretty well lined up for some potential fun in the metals markets right now. But is there anything else you want to add? Any other updates before we go?
Yeah, I think it's important to tell investors on our other two projects what to expect in 2022. So on our Cookie project, that's the one that's just south of the Kemess mine, or the formerly producing Kemess mine up in the Toodoggone, where there's a multitude of exploration development projects around us. We had some really good target definition last year. This year we'll go in and do a full geophysical survey with IP to further refine our drill targets. So our plan is to be up there likely in late May, early June to do the IP survey so we can get some priority drill targets. The drilling up there will still likely be in 2023 because we got our hands full with Eagle and Friendly down south, but we're excited about the prospectivity of that project as well. Lastly, on our Friendly project, again, southern BC, we plan to be on the ground in Friendly in mid to late May, depends on the snow cover on the ground. And two key things we're going to focus on initially there. I mentioned earlier about the new cut blocks, road cuts, etc., due to the extensive logging in the area. Every one of those areas we've gone into, we found mineralization, alteration, both copper and gold. Some of the areas that were logged subsequent to us leaving there, we haven't had boots on the ground there. We want to go do some ground surveys, mapping, sampling in those areas. Probably at the same time, we'll conduct our first ever IP survey there as well. We need the geophysics, absolutely key again for targeting copper and gold mineralization. It's possible that later in the summer, based on those results and the availability of rigs, that we would be in there to drill that later this year or into the fall. So there's going to be nothing but news flow on all three projects throughout the year. We're going to be very busy. And again, because of the areas we're located in with large competitors around us, we're pretty excited that for the possibilities for our projects if we're successful in our exploration in the coming season.
Yeah, it sounds like you guys are really locked and loaded for 2022, and guys, we'll get you the updates as they come along the wire. And if you guys have any other questions about them, let us know and we'll dive into them. But for now, Mark, thank you for your time today. Thank you everyone for watching, and stay tuned for more coming soon.
Thanks, Mike. Really appreciate it.